Pow, pow, pow. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I am your host and game master for this episode 89 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play the beautiful paladin Brise. Say hello.
Hey everybody, hope you are doing a-okay.
We
Exciting episode, Karandrin. Hopefully as exciting as the last episode.
it was pretty interesting. So we definitely had some developments last stream with figuring out, confirming without any question that Ordia, who had funded a cult, is now in cahoots with the demon Kralum that you had, who had been trapped here on Earth. You helped free him, but your plans were different than his plans, and you had lied to him, and now he seeks vengeance on you. So, um, so apparently, Kralum came back, or at least has pierced again reached his influence into this world. He's no longer trapped here, and found someone of wealth and power who had already begun a cult to another ancient deity, and was going to influence, probably influence that cult, and ultimately use it as an instrument against you. You have brought down that cult, and tell us what happened last stream in regards to Ordia, also known as Gazra.
I'm going to stop right there. Is it Gazra or Gadraz?
Oh, excuse me. I may
Yeah.
have. I may have.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I got it wrong, but I've been saying Gadraz. So
I'll change that. I'll take that
you
down.
are the game master, so you can just call me a fool if you want. I'll change.
Now let's be honest. I'm barely a game master.
We started the session just spying on the goings on of the manor, and to try to get
Ordia's, right?
Ordia's manor, right? They're a manor surrounded by a large estate, and we ended up noticing, me and my Falcon familiar Nalani, that they were Ordia was nowhere to be found, but her staff were loading up a wagon and hiding its contents beneath hay. And when the wagon took off at sunset, I thought it'd be wise to follow and see where it's headed. And so following them, we came across very tense, kind of stealthing along in the middle of the night. Came across this old cottage that right outside of town, actually overlooking the town from a hidden spot, the town of Ballabry, and confronted them. It was Gadraz appeared there. I was using Kralum's powers to meet the three people, and that's when I was spotted, and we had a little bit of a conflict. I got a really good hit on Gadraz with my spear, and they retreated, and I managed to convince the three, the guard, the driver, and one of the handlers here, the Granger here, that hey, y'all should be on my side and not your master, who's being possessed by, or at least influenced by this demonic power. And so now we've headed. So we just did a little tiny bit off stream. We headed to town and then to Mirgral's Keep with the wagon load of goods, and then the Granger and the guard both have. I let them go and advise them to go to the temple and turn themselves in, or accidentally aiding a person under demonic influence.
They certainly seemed legitimately surprised.
Yeah,
that
very confused when all of that went down.
Right. So you followed them all night, so you're exhausted. So
now it's morning and we're riding. We make our way to the Mirgral's Keep. It's probably like late morning, mid morning?
No, it's because it's 4 hours to town off the
Oh, right.
switchbacks and so on, and so
Wow.
it's
Through the
noon. But
mountains.
it's like noon before you reach the temple, and then it's another 2 to 3 hours um, to Niagaral's Keep. Um, and so I should put her up actually. Um, where is that? Is it way down here? Man, way down here. Where the heck?
I don't know. I can get sleepy driving in a car. I don't know how Brise stays awake on that.
Yeah, it's
I wouldn't be surprised if I nodded off a few times.
fortunately the drive down the mountain is a little precarious. It's it's narrow roads and things that keeps you
The
awake. Driving
adrenaline
through
going, yeah.
town, that's tougher. I've only done a little bit of driving in the Rockies, just a little bit, and but I've done some driving in the Appalachians, and there even in the Appalachians, as low as they are, there are some curves where it's like, well, apparently the purpose of this road is to launch me into that valley. Like you
Yes.
can't see, the road just ends apparently.
Yeah. Usually when speed limits, they're a little bit conservative. When you're in the mountains, you obey the speed limit because
You
that's
do.
any faster. You're like, wow, I'm about to pop a wheelie here.
Yeah, Obi Wan and I, we were driving back from an event in oh, I can't remember where it was, Cherokee, North Carolina, and we were cutting through the Appalachians, and like I said, there was this road, and I'm like, okay, great, the road's just gonna throw us into the valley, fine, let's just end it. But yeah, it
If
was
you go fast enough, you can skip the valley and go into the
mhm,
next.
make it to the next mountain.
Yeah.
Um, so
All right. So yeah, we arrive at the keep. Uneventful trip. Tired
um,
as everything, and I
so
guess as
you
soon as we're stopped by the guards, um, tell them that I guess I would want to speak to Fraldrim, or at least my handler. I got her name here.
a
Don't mind.
theme.
Athene, yes, Athene. So
Um,
I'll come into the come into the gates, and if as soon as the guards see the guards, I say, go fetch Athene. Important. They need to be the first to hear about this.
so a messenger is clearly dispatched and quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You're just leaned up against the against the wagon.
I'm
Uh,
awake.
that's right.
Alert.
Um,
Got Nalani on my shoulder, also very, very tired.
yes,
She might have napped on the
that's true.
side.
I don't know. I guess. I guess they sort of bed down. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know sleeping habits either of birds like that.
Falcons. Well, that's
When we say like familiars to that familiar bond, in a way they become more human, right? The animals, so they kind of like could, be like a human. Like I'll just curl up here and
exactly.
sleep. Yeah, sit
Can I get a
down.
cup of warm milk? What? I like to read before bed. Nalani, I can't help you. You're just. Do you have like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or I like to tweet before anyway. So um, a goblin officiant of some sort comes on behalf of Athene. She is occupied, um, and male, female. What's the deal here? Middle-aged female goblin. Very impressive. Um, very shrewd, very observant. Um, um, and she, says that Athene is too busy. What is the meaning of all this?
Then this. Well, I just tell them that this is important news that should be deal with covertly. It's none of your business. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what is this person's rank, right?
Why don't you roll your feeling on this person?
Sure. Yeah. 90.
Okay, and roll again for your observations.
1.
Okay, lovely.
Mm.
Um, Athene, you have to assume that Athene surrounds herself with good people. And if you're not going to trust the mechanism around Athene, then there's no reason to trust Athene, right? I mean,
Okay.
so you're kind of
Well,
stuck. So you can speak quietly to her.
right. So I whisper quietly. It's to do with the Ordia business.
She takes a step back and regards you. She steps forward again. Go on.
Okay. So I'll tell her that this we observed that Ordia was well. We observed that Ordia was making a move to leave her manor, and this is the wagon she loaded up with goods, um, and we managed to intercept it at its destination. And so I'll say we know the location of where they were headed to. A
This
small
man
cottage.
certainly does.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
driver.
true. Yeah, I forgot he's there too. Yeah. Here is the driver of the cart, which I've taken with me.
Are you going to speak on his behalf and said he seems unwitting? He seems to be an unwitting pawn.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Say
I
that.
feel he should be dealt with
And I said
leniently.
willing to help us as long as we you know, treat him like a bystander.
Oh, trust me, this is a medieval society. He's going to help with or without his hands. That's
Yeah. And I'll withhold about the demonic powers that I don't want to cause rumors and a stir that much. So.
um, you were to report to Athene had you captured anyone. We have received no prisoners. Is this man to be treated as a prisoner?
Yes. Um, how
Well,
do
detained
yes.
in quarters, kind of a.
Right. He shouldn't be left to wander, but don't treat him as you would any prisoner.
He has information, but I don't feel like he had any part to
Exactly.
play.
Yeah.
But he can lead you back to the cottage and so on.
Right.
Do you have a report for Athene in terms of people coming and going from the manor?
Um. Well, yeah. No one was really seen coming or going. So in the time that I spent there, no one visited. No one seemed to leave, except for this circumstance which I intercepted.
There is a small force ready to march on Ordias.
Okay.
Um, and to seize the rest of her property and lands, starting with the manor. I suggest you return to your quarters and await further word.
Well, I interrupt her. There's a second half to that, and I think Ordia might be a Ordia is a going to be much harder to deal with um, than we think. I don't think a small force will be enough. Um,
That's
I
going to.
saw. I will say that I saw them. I saw very powerful magic in use at the manor. It was very atypical of. I don't know. I guess magic isn't the right word to use, right? I saw Ordia. I don't know how do I do it without being like too, blunt.
Um, Exhibit powers beyond that of a typical goblin.
And I just say Ordia themselves. Yeah, I guess.
Uh,
I managed to see Ordia themselves. Um, you know, I confronted them, and they, had strange powers that were not,
Natural.
unnatural powers. I, feel like I got lucky escaping as I did.
Are you going to tell them about the traps on the road?
Yes, and I also encountered certain powerful traps laid in wait for me while on the way to the manor.
On the drive.
Right, would definitely kill any ordinary soldier. More than one possibly. Hey, Quinn.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing all right there, buddy. We could all use a bit of demonic powers in our life, honestly.
Hey, the election's coming up. So, what do you recommend against Ordia?
I would say, well, because they were expecting temple magic. So I would say don't take the main road, to the manor. The force should be, whatever force you send should not use the road and should be dispersed. And any, just wizards, anyone knowledgeable in magic would be advised. I know Fraldrim is probably busy, but she would be no more than me. And
seek
us.
her advice.
Yeah.
What's interesting is this would be another instance where just organically, it's possible that this is a noble. Could be an instance where a noble one would go seek out adventurers.
Oh, right.
Right. Interesting.
I can't send soldiers. I need skilled,
sort of scouts who can go in or just to supplement your own forces.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting where you see these sort of natural reasons that missions arise, modules arise, if you will.
Right. This is a clear example of, except that any adventurer who is going to be up against quite a match.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, level 15, level 20, level 25. Sure. And it's like, it's going to be dangerous. So here's 1,000 gold a piece kind of a thing. And
right.
It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She looks you both over. She orders guards to take the wagon to one of the back courtyards and stand guard over it. She looks you two over and says, "You're both exhausted. Take him, take the driver to quarters. And why don't you await further instruction in your quarters?"
I like the sound of that. Did she say for me to take the driver to?
No, just telling a guard. And it's like, he doesn't, he's not to have communication with anyone, but he's welcome to as much food and drink as he can hold. And, and we'll see what information he can provide. Turns to the driver and says, obviously Lady Mia Grawl would love to pardon you of any crimes that you may have inadvertently committed against the crown or the gods with your help.
Yes.
Do you mention the two that you released or not?
Yeah, might as well for completeness. Good point. There were two others on the wagon. They, were just guard and a granger, and I let them go. They didn't seem to have. I advised them to go to the temples and repent for what they did unwittingly.
She mentions that the granger would have been useful. He would have the most extensive knowledge of the layout of the estate.
Oh, interesting.
But it's understandable that you wouldn't have thought of that.
Human.
So she gives you a little bow. Guards take the wagon to the back. Um, the driver is obviously terrified, because now here he is at the keep, right, and under guard.
Yes.
Do you want to pass him a word of encouragement? Do you want
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, I think I would say that listen, Mia Grawl is maybe a little intense, but she is just, and I'll make sure, as long as you're truthful to your word that you had no part in this, I think you'll see it. You won't come to harm.
He does seem to really take relief at that. What is the word? Anyway, he's glad of those words of takes comfort in
Right.
that, and off they go. And you trudge your weary way back to your quarters. Roll for me.
61.
Definitely the castle has stepped down its high level of security.
Okay.
It seems like
A few days ago, yeah.
because it's been a couple of days, and you don't know if they've caught them, but it doesn't seem like the hunt is on here, at least for them.
Right. For each other.
Yeah. So, um, so where's my lady? There we go. There's my lady Mia Girl thing. I was searching for that. So, are you going to try to crash immediately?
Yeah, I mean, anyone could wake me up. They'll just knock on my door and I'll wake up. So let's sleep. I know, and it's probably better that I try to get some sleep than try to keep myself awake. So.
Right. All right. Boom. Unconscious.
Nice. Now here's the fun part. In Karandrin, right? I'll wake up and I have no idea what day it is or what time it is.
Right.
Look outside. Just put a little question mark for. And that is.
So you actually are allowed to sleep all the way through to morning. So let's do your 3 rolls.
Sure. 91.
Okay.
97. And 96.
Wow.
Wow.
Roll that one again. Actually, you're rolling the second roll still.
Those were the rolls when I was fighting the dragon. 57. So that's all for the second roll, right?
Yeah, that's the second roll. So now the third roll.
Third roll is 71.
Okay. Very vivid dreams. Numerous and clear.
We should have it that when you roll that high on like dreams, right, it becomes like a lucid dream. I'm allowed to like role play in the dream.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, just start. Then we end up like a multiple session in the dream, and our audience is like, are they in the dream or not anymore? I can't remember.
So this is episode 6 of the dream, but episode 122 of the overall story. It's like this is the first Inception role playing is what we come to. So the dreams are a lot of detailed dreams of you struggling to rechain Kralum. That occurs several times. Sometimes you're partially successful. Sometimes he is chaining you. You guys are equal size. Him, this sort of strange scorpion spider hybrid, who's icy to touch, and sometimes he chains you over the volcano.
Oh my gosh.
Other dreams are of the Iron Empress, and these feel like dreams where the Iron Empress is reaching out to you. Um, the communication is direct. It feels more. It just has a different feel. And in the dream, um, the Iron Empress skewers Kralum with one of her wavy, serrated blades,
Right.
um, uh, and says, "Imagine having me as an ally against this old foe. Imagine the ways that you could serve me."
Mm.
Um,
You're what's the opposite? Instead of preaching to the choir, right? You're preaching to the wrong religion.
exactly.
No. I
The
tried dismantling your cult in Brise, so no part of that.
um, so she shows you images of this huge ceremony where you were presented on the steps of the Temple of Astalon in Balabri. You
Mm.
are There are masses cheering for you, and there's some very decorated priests. You're having to stoop and receive a medal. Um, you're receiving um, a beautiful ornate shield of Astalon. Has her huge sun emblem on it emblazoned. And she says, "We could do so much good for you and your temple. You would receive all the honors and be a hero to the people and to your faith. And no one need know of our alliance."
Wow. If I have any agency in the dream, I try to resist, and it is tempting, I imagine.
Why don't you roll a self discipline roll?
Yeah.
And that will give you.
15.
Um, it is very tempting. I mean,
Hmm.
um, it would. I mean, it would give you. The continual promise that you see is that she can aid you in aiding the temples and bring you ultimately this success and glory.
Right. But
Uh,
I have to remind myself that, but they are, maybe they can help me aid the temples, but they're not helping me aid the gods and what is truly righteous. Right.
that
So,
is true.
yeah,
But could
trying
you?
to tell myself that. Yeah.
But could you then use that power to stop her?
I mean, yeah, kind of like we did with uh, stopping Crown to stop Verlag. That is true.
Um,
It's hard to argue against that, to try outmaneuvering her.
she offers you a token. So the Iron Empress walks in the dream, walks through the crowd. The crowd separates and bows to her. As she walks up, this human woman, beautiful, raven haired. She's dressed in a flowing sort of robe gown sort of thing, an exposed shoulder.
Mhm.
She carries her hands rest on her daggers. She wears a locket, which you've not seen before in any of her depictions. Um, She approaches you. She goes up the stairs. The priests back away from you and bow to her. And she takes the locket off and hands it to you. And it's clearly a hinged locket. And yes, you have agency. What would you like to do?
I mean, I'm curiosity. I open the locket and see what's inside.
There is a picture, a moving picture of Ichar. And she says, "This is my token of trust.
Mm.
Be the hero that people expect you to be."
When it's like a moving, how is he moving? Is he like running, or is he just in place? Like
He's
gesture.
sitting in a dark room. There's light filtering through. He has bread and cheese, and he's cutting and eating with a knife. But when there's a noise outside, he sort of peers through this boarded up window,
Mm.
and he, peeks and sits back down and sips his tea. And he seems disheveled. The room is grubby.
And then she says, "A token of trust." And what was the next? Maybe
Be the hero.
be the hero. Okay.
She says, "All you have to do is take the locket, and you will know his location."
Oh, mm. Man, I'm Kevin. I'm being really sick by being tempted by these powerful beings. It's like fool me once, fool me twice. I mean, I
Fool me
don't see,
6 times. I'm just very human.
I don't see why I wouldn't. Right? It seems so truthful. Can I, have another role to resist, or you think, or
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you. I mean, I think you're leaning toward doing it. I think
I
both
know
ways.
I am. I guess, yeah. It's just there's something about like putting my trust in this entity, right? Is obviously taking away my trust from the other Oxir and the other gods in a way.
Right. I
It's
mean,
like
it's. I mean, it's not to say that she's not a real god. You're not. Are you worshiping her?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm borrowing their power, I guess. Um, I don't know what that means, right? So okay, so I'll take the locket very hesitantly,
Okay. So you
cautious.
take the locket, um, and when you wake with full knowledge of where he is.
Oh my, what? That is interesting.
It's very clear to you. Is it a part of town you've been in before? Oh, it absolutely is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a horse dealer on the west side of town.
Hmm.
Um, he's got pastures where he raises horses and so on. It's a little back from the road, but there is a cottage, probably where um, either like where like maybe where a son would go off and live before getting married, that sort of thing, or maybe a servant would go, maybe a night guard for the pastures, watching for wolves and bears. Um, and he is holed up there. I mean, you know where you've seen that in passing, and apparently that's either wittingly or unwittingly, it's providing. The owner of that is providing.
Yeah. Okay.
You have caught Ichar.
I have by using the power of the Iron Empress. That's interesting. I guess she is a god of sorts, so the fact that she knows that is should be no surprise. Man, very interesting. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I should say was. I should change the caption here. Um,
Right. Um, okay. Well, wake up and processing all that. It's June the 2nd. I guess what you said it's morning when you wake up.
Yes. Um, there is a note under your door. Um, it is from Athene. The goods have been gratefully received by Miagral and by the temples. They have um, shared them out. Um, and Miagral is very grateful for your work. There is the Granger has not turned himself in. The guard has turned himself in. Um, the driver has given them the location of the cottage. They have secured the cottage. They found out that they have checked tax records, and um, it was purchased under a name that must be fake. And they're checking other records to see if there are any other properties. There's been no sign of her. Did you mention that she was there and that she disappeared before your very eyes?
I didn't say. Well, I said I escaped. I wasn't clear on that they used odd powers. So yeah, I was not clear on that.
Okay. um, phone. All right. So they have um, they have assembled two small forces to approach the manor.
Okay.
Since she apparently has made, they're assuming that she's fled and that they're going to um, seize her properties now and just have enough men to, handle servants and so on, and just arrest enough people so they can be questioned. Um, her properties are extensive throughout the county. Um, so um, Athene asks that you send note as soon as you're awake. And sorry, my computer's got a window popping up. It's like it's causing a lag on the end.
Yeah, you are a little laggy on the YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry. And but the idea is that the forces will march immediately. So
Yeah, I'll you get cleaned up and get some breakfast and send a note to Athene. As soon as I'm done with that.
I learned on, of course, this British show that I adore, QI. I learned that there were, with the rise of factory work, but prior to the affordability of clocks, you had people who would sit up all night to then wake the people who were paid to go wake people. And then those people would go out into the streets and they would use pea shooters, which is when a pea shooter is a pipe for shooting pea gravel.
Right.
And so they would take gravel off the street and shoot it at your window to wake you up for work. Isn't that
Man,
bizarre?
talk about talk about replacing very needed jobs, right?
Right.
This whole alarm clock thing, Jeez, that's really fascinating though. It makes a lot of sense. What
Yeah, I mean
else?
it was I mean when you go through it, like what else would they have done? Like that is the most common sense, direct way of doing it.
Right,
The people who are the alarms need alarms.
right,
So you just have one guy stay up all night, and when dawn hits or just before dawn, they wake the person. That person gets up to go wake everybody else up.
right. I don't know. We've talked about this before, right? Like how the creation of modern timepieces, right, allowed for scheduling and more like rigorous.
Right,
I'll be here at 7, versus I'll be there in
right,
the evening. I
right,
wonder if those two things like influenced each other. It's like I really wish I could be up at the same time every day. This pea
right,
shooter is not doing it.
right. Yeah, the invention of the small clock was because you had water clocks and things like that, and all of that required the same thing like grandfather clocks, right? You had the pendulum weight and
Right,
water clocks, and all of this for clocks to work required small, steady use of power,
right,
and that was very difficult to achieve
right.
prior to the invention of small, powerful springs.
Hmm.
You could do big springs, huge springs, no problem. You could have a ribbon spring that was 30 feet long that you coiled up with oxen and no problem. And so you could have Big Ben and things like that, but one that
Right,
would sit on your mantle, the metallurgy just couldn't get there until a guy in England was trying to solve this problem, and he was visiting an area in England famous for its pottery, and they had kilns going, and he was like, "How hot do these kilns get?" And so this technology had been around for hundreds of years,
right.
but never brought to metallurgy. And then once he adopted that, you could do these high tensile strength small springs, and that gave rise to pocket watches and affordable mantle clocks and things like this. I mean, it's so weird. Like pottery
Yeah,
is what gave us watches, you know.
right, right. Which is almost more as much art as it is utility.
Right.
Yeah.
So you so yeah, you want to get breakfast, you want to skip breakfast, what do you want to do?
I imagine I'd be pretty
You're
famished.
pretty starved, yeah.
Yeah. And if I'm gonna talk to Athene, I want to be ready. So let's
So
make
you
sure I'm presentable.
pull your bell rope and tell people to get their butts in there.
Right. I'll shoot some gravel at their servants' windows.
That's right. That's
And
right. And so,
that should be what the alarm spell, right? Well, what's it? Watchful strength, right? It's just as soon as someone crosses the border, someone like just appears behind you and boom, and you're like, God, what's that?
yeah, you're asleep and it just pea gravel right in the face,
Yeah,
right in the
that's how the
temple.
spell should work. Yeah.
Normal people will get the pea gravel in the face, but because you're a paladin, you get it right in the temple. And
Very nice.
um,
All right. So yeah, we'll do all the normal morning routine, and then he hopefully shows up.
you order all your clothes to be cleaned
Mm-hmm.
because you've been
Oh
without
yeah,
that.
I've been trucking it.
And
I still have stuff at the camp. I have everything I need with me, but yeah, I got to remember to come back to that campsite and grab some stuff I left there, my tent and everything. I'll make a note of that.
so you go. Uh, you just go ahead and send word to Athene, tell her that I'm awake and readying myself and so on. So it's probably mid morning before you see her. Um, do you want to send in your note to Athene anything about Ichar?
I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm really, I wonder how I should even bring it about, right? I mean, so if I'm just wondering how Brise would go about it, right? If she's kind of, obviously doesn't want to bring up the Iron Empress, but also wants part of the glory a bit for like finding HR, right? I guess. I'll say in the note, but I don't want to lie too much. It's all these character like conflicts, right?
That's
I,
Karandrin.
I would say that I might know some information on HR. Is what I'd say as well.
You would say what?
I might know some information.
About
I've overheard some information on HR, or I guess I wouldn't put his name in there, right? But well, I guess if everyone knows, they're looking for him, right? So, um, I mean, I'll just put. I would like to speak on the HR business as well. It's a good neutral way to
right.
bring it up. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Got to remember, anyone in this keep could be seeing whatever notes I'm sending to and fro.
Right. So you go to Athene's office. There is an extra guard about. You notice that's on patrol outside. You're ushered in, and there, Fraldrum and Athene are sitting at her office fire.
Athene is Elven, right?
Yes, Athene is Elven. Yeah, striking in appearance. And I've just to interrupt for a moment, I have forgotten to mention to just to remind our viewers, hey, we post in the chat, we post Max's notes and character sheets and all kind of stuff. And I haven't been talking about that lately, and I apologize, but you can actually see his notes live, and his character sheet, which we have to update because he's gone up a level, but and I got to get that to him to post. So
yeah, read through my notes, then you can be as confused as I am.
Exactly.
As confused as you are.
If you like that look of that glazed look that he always has, So they both rise eagerly when you approach, and he both. I guess it's a whole meeting of women. So
yeah, you can't screw up the pronouns here. They're all she.
It's all she. So Fraldrum approaches, shakes your hand heartily, says it's good to see you. Okay. And says, "Well, I must get back to business. I must disarm the traps that you have found for the approaching forces. They leave as soon as I arrive." And she says, "Wish me luck," and off she strides.
Okay.
So Athene gestures you to Fraldrum's chair, moves the plate, clears the plate and cup of tea that she was drinking. And says, you've been of tremendous service. And Miagral is quite pleased with you.
Good to know.
She takes an envelope out. In it are coins, specifically 10 mithril.
Okay.
Um, and she says you are also to have your choice of one of these three items from Ordia's precious collection that she was attempting to
Ooh.
smuggle away. And so there is a painting um, that it's it depicts it's clearly the city of Hanrock.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
painted
the
at
capital of Nargos, right?
mhm,
Yeah. Look at me. I know my Karandrin geography.
geography.
Karandrin geography.
So yeah, it's sun rising in the east over the mountains, uh,
Mhm.
over the valley where Hanrock lies. Um, Hanrock is partially a hold that is a mountain city as well, like into the mountain.
Mhm.
Um, there is a vase with um, that shows it's got jewels as rose petals. The vines are mithril, and it's about a foot high. It's really lovely, um, and there is a richly engraved tea set, all silver, um, service for 8. Um, clearly of dwarven make based on the characters depicted therein.
Mhm.
Um, it is dwarven home scenes, feasts. I should say not festivals, but feasts and things like that. Um, very lots of wealthy domestic scenes engraved on all of it.
Right.
Um, what's your pick?
Well, why don't I just do a third of the painting, a third of the vase,
Do it. That's the way to
and
do it. This is like
each.
Antiques Roadshow.
I guess Brise is really a fan of sculpture, so she'd probably be drawn to the vase.
Okay.
So yeah, pick that out.
So there you go. You're,
Thank you. Thank Mia Grall's generosity, of course.
and she says she'll certainly pass that on. Um, so you might want to mention, well, maybe we'll have you mention to Fraldrum before she leaves that, hey, I've left some stuff, including my horse, at your
Oh, okay, sure,
at
yeah.
your
I thought
camp.
I thought it might be a little out of it's like by the way, I've left some stuff, but I guess if
Right.
that seems fine in my place to do that, I'll.
Yeah, I think so because I mean, you don't want items of power certainly getting in the hands of
Oh, true, yeah, yeah.
um, novices. Not that you have like now Kurt's laying around anymore. Now no, sorry, now Karth.
Elkarth.
Um,
He's
and so so yeah, the so um, they're gonna the seizure is now on the march, right? The seizing forces
yeah,
are
and
on the march.
I do want to bring up to Athene just the I hope Fraldrum has told you the whole story with Ordia and their strange powers. It's very concerning to me and to the temples, but me especially.
Yes,
Actually,
right
I guess
now we
I probably don't
are
want to bring up Kralum specifically. I don't know because I don't want to seem like I don't know. I'm a little worried about this. Yeah, I don't want to be the linchpin in this again, right? If that makes
well.
sense.
So what do you want to say?
Well, I would say I'm just concerned about um, Ordia's powers and asking, what do we know about them thus far? And I'll.
We are keeping the origin of her powers. We're allowing the temple to assume that they are from the Iron Empress.
Okay.
Even though we know that not to be the case.
Right.
Your swift action has secured for Mia Grawl her reputation as taking swift action against such unholy intrusions into her land.
Right.
The fact that there is another player in the game is irrelevant as far as the temple's concerned.
Okay.
So long as we can arrest her and bring her to justice, then that will have to be enough for them until we are certain that Mia Graw's position is secure. Later, perhaps, we may suggest that maybe the Iron Empress was a demon all along.
Okay. Yeah, I would just advise that Fraldrum knows as much as me how dangerous the Ordia has become now, and will continue to, I guess, be so. Hopefully, this this might not be the end of this. I guess what I'm trying to say. I don't know how this will play out.
The question remains what other assets she has in other counties, because, of course, our tax records will only show what she has here. Algrid is unlikely to cooperate openly, and so we have that in hand for his county, and we have more open inquiries going on in more friendlier territories.
Mm-hmm.
And there we will urge that her properties be seized, and if um, if necessary, we'll explain to those lords and ladies why. But if not, then we will simply say that she owes restitution, and that lord can sell that land to whomever after seizing it, and
Mm-hmm.
pay us some sum that we make up.
Okay. Sounds like they've got it all figured out politically.
Yeah, well, that's their job,
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of Athene's concern. I'm like, okay.
Um,
Yeah. I'm thinking about also Kralum, I guess, like I don't know, he might have to abandon Ordia now if this is happening, right? If his aim is to get back at me somehow. And, this person is now disenfranchised.
right, and separated from their power.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see what the fallout is from that. And I guess I won't see until whatever happens next. So, okay. But, I just say that's good. That's wise. That they'll be taken care of that way.
right. Um, shall we pause here and take a break, and then
Yeah.
we'll come back and finish this, and you can sort of spell out how you can handle the HR issue however delicately you
Yes.
want.
I have an idea, so I'll present that when we get back, and we'll see.
So yeah, so we're gonna run and stretch our legs and refill our drinks. We hope you do the same, but we'll be back in just a few minutes, guys. Just bear with us. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. Well, there's Max that we all love. Um,
Unchanged.
un-
Or
that's right.
you come back with just like a piercing or something, a tattoo. It's like, what?
That's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
All right. So yeah,
so
we're in mid conversation with Athene.
we are. I
Yeah.
should put her caption back up.
So if it's a good time, I'll bring up about the HR business. And so what I plan to say, and maybe you can advise me if Reese would think this makes sense, is I overheard some rumors about HR while I was at the manor. I overheard some servants talking about HR being spotted on the west edge of town.
Describe the
Around.
location.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still kind of like not quite lying, and I'm still saying like I get a little bit of I know that info, but hopefully no suspicions about where I got it from, right, or how. I know exactly where he is.
That's another prominent family. Who owns that land? If they are seized and questioned, this is getting more and more complex politically. But we'll have to let her ladyship sort that out. Very well. I will send riders immediately.
Okay.
Fraldrum wanted me to pass to you the fact that she has been watching the temple that you mentioned in the
Right.
valley west of here. No, east of here. And watching for any sign of movement there.
Mm-hmm.
There is none. Still,
Right.
as a place for thieves to hide out and that sort of thing, um, it does stand as a possible problem, and it would do much for Miagral's reputation to be shown to be proactive in the destruction of such things.
Proactive. It's been there for like 5,000 years. Just kidding.
Are you running against Miagral? Let me be your ruler now. Elect me. What do you mean they're not elected? What are you talking about?
Do not dissent me.
There's also some thought about having you out of town and out of the keep while Ordia is free. So, unless you object, we
do a
could
little.
send you.
I would be missing Aldrif. I wonder how I can word that. Yeah, how do I feel about that, right? And would be. I mean, I've been on extended stays without him before, so I guess I probably wouldn't feel too. I would say, as long as I'm given, decent notice, until, maybe this evening, and then I can.
I think we can certainly spare you that long.
Okay.
But just the longer you're present here, we can assume that Ordia and the demon will be making efforts to find you.
Right.
Thus far, there's been no indication that I should find out that character, that NPC's name before I speak too far. Come on now. There we go. Let me see.
Um, I thought of something else
Right.
I need to figure out once you're going.
So Jarwin is
Jarwin, yeah,
Jarwin, who is the assistant potions master for the
right.
keep, was in cahoots with Crowlum. And um, Fraldrum has had him under observation since before Crowlum's release
Right.
to see if there was any indication um, that Crowlum would reach out to him. As far as we can tell, um, Jarwin has abandoned the project for Crowlum, having not heard from him for
Okay.
a while. Fraldrum has approached him saying that she too was approached by Crowlum and has not heard from him.
The habit of ghosting people.
Yeah,
Not ghost in the fantasy sense.
no. And of course, we know that he's trying to make you a ghost. So, it works
Yeah,
on
he
several
does like
levels.
ghosts. Yeah, ghost
That's
people.
right. So, but we feel now that he may redouble his efforts. And there have the apprentices are continuing to watch for any efforts from Jarwin. But we
Okay.
have to assume that the greatest danger in the keep to you is Jarwin, and you
Right.
should avoid contact with him. He is very skilled with potions.
I did meet. Oh god, I don't like the sound of that. I did meet. Oops, that's. I did meet Jarwin once, I think. Right.
Yes.
I don't remember what impression I got. Blue eyes, man in his 50s. So yeah, I will be out of here by evening then, for sure, and keep an eye out for that. Yeah, good potions are dangerous. You can kind of put them anywhere. You
Do you
could
have
just throw them from
potions?
a rooftop and then bam. You don't
Yeah,
even have to hit them as long as it splashes, in the right area.
right. And enough of it, but yes. Um, do you have potions you need to return to them?
I do, and that's what I was gonna bring up. Is I have all this gear listed here that I would have on me. So we got the rope, the food they gave me, the potions, um, the helm, the surcoat, and two mithril and 200 gold pieces. It was
For
all
bribes?
temporary gear, yeah. So
Okay, that's
I'll,
fine.
I'll just offer those back, and remove those from the list here.
Right. Is there anything you want to ask to keep for the current mission of going and exploring the temple?
So I'm curious how Brise feels about if in this dream I felt like I should be loyal to the Iron Empress in a way. How do I feel about going out and clearing out their temple, right? Or I guess I'm not necessarily clearing it out, right? I
I
don't
mean,
know.
presumably, this is going to be, as you understand temple policy, this is the first step in pulling that temple down
Right, right. I would be I would be clearing it out of any
for safety.
right monsters or things that have made nests
Right,
there.
unholy things. Even if there's a band of thieves, obviously, if there's a band of thieves there, don't go at them. Come
Right.
back and report. Um, but yes, you the idea is to make it safe then for a temple and a handful of the temple with a handful of men to go and sort of do an exploration of it and just say, okay, do we tear it down? Do we re-sanctify it? Do we,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I guess Brees would feel that it's the right thing to do this, and if it angers the Iron Empress, and she revokes whatever aid she was going to give me, I guess that's just the way it turns out.
kind of useful. Take your, but is that dishonorable?
Well,
You
to
know,
whom? To the Empress, or
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you
that's
behaving
weird.
dishonorably.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is strange. I
but
mean,
like I said, I was going to possibly use the Empress's powers against them, so I don't know if I even had honor for them in the first place.
it's a weird one. It's a
Yeah,
weird,
it's hard
and the
to
other thing
roll.
is having another powerful enemy against you.
Right. Right. I think
Um,
what Brees would say is, I have no qualms about going into the temple and doing that. But maybe when the time comes, I'll have to make a decision. Right. We do that in real life a lot. Like we're like, that's fine, I'll do that, and then we actually are faced with like, wait a second.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, yeah. You're gonna put it off.
I feel like that's what Brees would do. In terms of like logistics, getting to the temple, right, and just so they see no movement in the temple. What's the size of the temple, right? Like, do they know how it's constructed, right? And is it like crumbling, or is it, any details about that would be helpful so I can prepare to go after it, make preparations, right?
Um,
Also, don't worry, this wasn't wine; it was cherry juice, which is much stronger. It looks like wine.
intoxicates me. There's a rare condition that occurs, and I can't remember what it's called, but it where you get an infection in your brain, and the byproduct of the infection of the bacteria's respiration is alcohol.
Oh no!
And so you basically are constantly drunk all the time.
Oh
And I'd
geez!
heard about it years ago. I think my dad told me about it. And then I was watching QI, which I, of course, love. And one of the panel members was this British comedian. She had it, and she was giddy and sleeping a lot
Yeah,
and so on. And that's what was going on.
I was gonna say that'd be great for the first 4 hours, and then you're both hungover and drunk for like the rest
Exactly.
of your
It's
life. Wow,
it's
that's
the
fascinating. Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah. Um, there's a basic map. He or she, Fraudrum, used her arts to discover it, um, and that took some doing, just because that valley is particularly large.
Right.
There, we know that at one point you reported ogres in that area, and um, and so um, um, it wouldn't surprise her if they were there, but in the 2 days that she staked it out, there was nothing. There was no
Mhm.
movement one way or the other.
Right.
She observed it from from very high up even,
Mm.
and watched it. She could find no comings and goings of any sort. So it is built up against a steep um, um, cliff face. And so there's probably some workings inside. It has one subterranean layer, and it has layer, not
Yeah.
layer.
No, sorry. I just thought of something. Keep going
Okay,
though.
and it has three above ground. It is the let me think. South, right? Yes, the northern side of the first floor has somewhat crumbled. The other areas seem physically secure.
Which layer? Sorry, was crumbled.
First,
Okay.
the north side of the first layer,
North side
just
of the first.
the outer rooms, the outer
Right.
edge of rooms, has suffered blows from the cliff and has crumbled.
Okay. So no sightings, anyone coming or going. Map to the temple. I guess Fraldrim didn't cast any magic to see, whether it's cursed or any like harmful effects, that are present in the temple. Should be aware of.
She did.
Hmm.
There is definitively unholy sources in the temple. Um, but they are moving. So it is either some demon influence or it would be undead.
Right. I think that's all I need to know. So my thought I just had was, sure, I can, pilfer this temple and clean it out. And if I find any relics of the Iron Empress, I could preserve those as an act of, loyalty to her. Maybe
Oh, interesting.
middle ground. Yeah. And they're out of the hands of anyone, who use them, to start a cult, right? Or to do any more negative influence.
Well, they're in the Iron Empress's hands. And
Whatever that means. Yeah. I don't know. And whose power I'm using to it's a very shaky moral, not shaky, but very it's a moral quagmire.
yes, yes, it is. Giggity. Um, so, um, so she says to you that certainly she could use her influence to free up Aldrich's schedule for you today, since you're going to be absent again. Um, and she rings her pull rope, and a servant comes in. She scribbles out a brief note and sends it, and and off the runner goes to deliver it. Um, so,
Okay.
is there anything else you need to report?
I would say when I told Frowler about the campsite, did she offer to retrieve those things, or did I just let her know and I can come?
No, I think that's yeah. You're like, I need those things secured. Don't let them. They're still at your campsite, so don't
Yeah,
let them mistake them. Whatever.
right.
And so now, when those are going to get back, that's the tricky thing.
Sure. Yeah, I might go into town then and get some more camping gear and most of that stuff I left at the campsite. So
If you leave,
maybe I'm
I mean,
worse.
leave. I mean, you could leave in the morning and try to be there at the temple.
True. Then I'd be at the temple at night and be a little safer.
Right,
It's
and not need
gonna be
camping gear.
dark in there anyway. Yeah.
You still need food, torches, and how are you set for seeing in the dark?
Right. You need to figure that out. Whether I use my floating lantern or torches, or maybe I'll come across a magic item.
Right. I mean, you could get torches from castle stores without any problem.
Right.
Um,
Or you know what? I could even maybe I hand the night vision potions back to Athene and ask her if I can buy them from the temple. Is it
well, I mean,
possible?
I mean, if you want to use the night vision potions, then just say this would be immensely
Sure.
helpful for the temple.
Yeah. So I mentioned, I know I gave those back to you, but if possible, I'm find them really useful in exploring the temple.
Um,
I have two left.
okay.
No, there's not. Oh, well, there's only one left, but I guess 2 hours to explore the temple is maybe good enough.
I don't think. I don't think
Maybe.
2 hours is. I mean, 2 hours might get you one floor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Because
Right.
it's
So
a
I just say those night vision potions were very helpful. I'm wondering if any more the keep could provide me with be most appreciated.
I will see what we have in stock and have them sent to your quarters.
Okay.
And so definitely slides the remainder to you out of your stores, out of the thing. Um,
Although, God, now I'm thinking of like being paranoid, right? She's going to send night vision potions to my quarters. Jarwin, who's a potion expert, is probably running against me. I don't know if that's the
well,
best.
it's pretty early.
If
If
she can
it's
do it
done
quickly,
to, if it's
yeah,
done, yeah, if it's done pretty quickly. I mean, that word can't reach Jarwin in time.
right.
So
Just me being paranoid.
yeah, it's hard not to like try to
Mhm.
just cross every T and dot every I when you're, especially in role playing. It's just difficult.
Right, right. Okay,
So
so that sounds good. Appreciate that. I think that's all for our meeting then.
right. So maybe what we'll do, I mean, if we want to just stop here, we could maybe do the Aldrich stuff off screen, have your romantic evening and so on off stream, and it's not quite as action driven. And
Hmm.
then even if we have time later off screen, we can even get you to the temple. We'll just see how that goes. We know that
Yeah,
traveling does involve some kind of tension,
yeah,
finding things. Um, but
yeah. I
um,
think that works. I think we can call it a bit early and start up again when we're ready to do some more exploring and
right.
action-packed stuff.
Yeah, so we got several things sort of in the hopper. We've got Echar's arrest hopefully imminent. We've got the seizure of Ordia's estates. Um, you've gotten a nice reward. Um, uh, give some thought after the stream. You and I might talk just a moment about you thinking about a magic item you might want to see if you can buy
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
from the stores here or in town, and we'll go from there. So yeah, let's wrap it up, and so we'll have you go back to your quarters, and that's where you and I will start off screen, and then gang, um, we will be um, we'll start up hopefully with him on the way to the temple. Um, so we're going to go back to Wednesdays for all of May.
Right.
And unless there's some conflicts that come up that we didn't expect. Thanks for watching. As always, we really appreciate it. If you think we're doing a good job, hey, hop to Donor Box and send us a little love. Before I forget, always like and subscribe. Like modern people do with the interweb. And if you want to see more of Max on YouTube, or at least listen to his deep, sonorous voice, then he has his own channel where he discusses the role of music in video games. And thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art that we use every stream for Brise. You can find more of their work at artstation.com/Tortalua. And I've written a book called A Shore Too Far. It's a fantasy novel that I'm really proud of, and I hope you enjoy it. And you can hop over there and take a look at it. Um, and as always, in the description and in the chat, you can find links to a lot of this stuff, including character sheet for Max, all of the notes that he's actually taken during play, and so on. You can check those out and sort of see what the game's about and sort of follow his adventures in the past as well. So, but again, thanks for everything, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday, our usual time. Max, you want to say goodbye to these lovely people?
I do, and just out of curiosity, I checked what the word count is for my notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I've written a small novel with my notes, 53,000 words. So
Wow,
yeah, that's pretty impressive. Go
that's
ahead and don't read all of it. Don't I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but definitely read the last couple days and weeks.
that's right. That would be about 200 pages. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
All right, but yeah, hope to see you next week, and yeah,
yeah,
see you soon.
yeah. Thanks, guys, for everything. We'll see you next Wednesday.